the morning light in Daphne Hale's house never felt soft anymore. It slanted through the kitchen blinds in thin, dusty stripes that landed across the counter like bars on a cage. She stood there, barefoot, her coffee cooling untouched beside the sink, while her sister's laughter echoed faintly from the living room. It was Saturday, a day that used to mean rest, grocery runs, maybe pancakes and a slow movie afternoon. Now it meant noise. Clattering dishes. The television blaring. Doors opening and closing without warning. Her family's voices crowding every corner of her home as if the walls had dissolved and she no longer owned the air inside them. Her father had moved in first, after his temporary separation. Then her mother came, just for a few weeks until things settled. Then her sister, her husband, and their toddler, who turned every quiet moment into chaos. And somewhere between the weeks and months, Daphne's house had stopped being hers. The coffee on the counter had gone cold. She picked it up, took a sip, and grimaced. The bitterness matched the taste in her mouth lately, not anger exactly, but a dull, sour fatigue that never seemed to fade. From the living room came her mother's voice, sharp as ever. Daphne, do you have more eggs? We're making breakfast for everyone. Daphne closed her eyes. Everyone? Of course, there should be some in the fridge, she said, keeping her tone even. A pause. Then, oh. Well, next time, buy the large pack, dear. We run out so fast now. Daphne swallowed the reply that burned in her throat. We? She turned to the window instead. Outside, her small garden was overgrown, mint spreading like wildfire over the borders, dandelions popping up between cracks. She used to tend to it every weekend, losing herself in the quiet rhythm of pruning and watering. Now, she couldn't remember the last time she'd touched the soil. The drawer slammed behind her. Her sister Tessa breezed into the kitchen wearing one of Daphne's aprons. Morning, she said brightly, as if the past 6 weeks of freeloading had been a blessing for everyone. Morning, Daphne answered softly. You don't mind if I borrow your stand mixer, do you? I'm making pancakes for Dad. Go ahead. Tessa smiled, already pulling things from cupboards. You're the best. Seriously, Daph, I don't know what we'd do without you. Daphne forced a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Probably managed just fine, she thought. She went upstairs to her room, the last private corner of her house, and shut the door. The sound was almost violent in the silence. On her dresser sat a framed photograph of her grandmother, the woman who'd taught her how to cook, how to breathe in chaos, how to keep grace even when everything around her fell apart. Don't let them shrink you, her grandmother had said once, while slicing apples for pie. The world will try. Especially the ones you love most. Hold your space, Daph. At the time, she'd smiled, thinking it was poetic advice. Now she knew it was a warning. Her phone buzzed, on the dresser a message from her boss. Reminder, proposal due Monday. Don't miss this one, Daphne, she sighed. Even work was slipping. The constant noise, the lack of boundaries, the endless help us. You're so good with people. It had drained her focus like a leak she couldn't find. The front door slammed. Laughter filled the air again. She heard her father's booming voice greeting someone, maybe one of his golf friends, maybe the neighbor. The smell of fried eggs drifted up the stairs. Daphne pressed her palms to her temples. The walls of her own home felt thinner every day. That evening, after everyone had eaten and scattered across the house, she stood alone in the kitchen cleaning up. Grease on the stove, syrup on the counter, dishes stacked precariously in the sink. It looked like a diner after a rush hour. She scrubbed the pan in slow, tight circles, her jaw clenched. Daphne. Her mother's voice again. Can you come here for a second? She dried her hands and went to the living room. Her parents sat together on the couch, a strange sight after years of cold silences, while Tessa scrolled through her phone nearby. Her father looked up. We've been thinking, he began, in that tone that always meant trouble. The restaurant your uncle left behind? We might reopen it. The one in Greenville? Yes. It's been sitting empty for years. But with your job experience and your eye for design, we thought. My job experience? She interrupted, wary. Her mother smiled tightly. You've always had such a good sense for managing people. You'd be perfect to handle the day-to-day. We'd invest, of course, but it would be a family business. All of us together. Daphne's stomach twisted. And my savings? Well, her father said, glancing away. We need some capital to get started. You've got some tucked away, don't you? Just a loan. Family helping family. Tessa looked up, grinning. It'll be fun. Like old times. Grandma's recipes, our name on the sign Hale's table. Don't you think it's fate? The room blurred slightly around Daphne. The scent of syrup and grease clung to the air. She thought of her savings years of quiet sacrifice, of working late, of saying no to trips, to clothes, to everything else, and felt something sharp twist inside her chest. She forced a calm breath. I'll think about it, she said, because that was what they expected. Her mother beamed. That's my girl. But later, when she went to her room and closed the door again, Daphne sat on the edge of her bed and whispered into the still air, I don't think I can keep doing this. The words startled her not because they were true, but because they were finally said out loud. The next morning, she woke before anyone else. The house was quiet for once, the kind of silence that felt sacred. She made a cup of coffee and stepped outside into the cool air. The world was washed pale by dawn, her garden glistening with dew, the city still half asleep. She crouched by the mint patch, touched a leaf, and breathed in the scent. Sharp, clean, alive. For a moment, she felt like herself again. Then she heard footsteps behind her. Her father, already in his robe, rubbing sleep from his eyes. Morning, kiddo, he said, his voice rough with sleep. Morning. About last night, we should get the paperwork sorted soon. If we move fast, we can relaunch by summer. Daphne stood slowly, the cool air biting at her bare arms. Dad, she said carefully. I haven't agreed to anything yet. He blinked, surprised. Well, sure. But it's for the family. You're not really thinking of saying no, are you? Something inside her cracked quiet, like ice splitting underfoot. She didn't answer. Instead, she walked past him into the house, her pulse thudding in her ears. Upstairs, she looked at her grandmother's photograph again. The older woman's eyes calm, fierce, knowing stared back at her as if to say, well, what now, my girl? And for the first time in months, Daphne didn't look away. Her sister snorted. What's gotten into you? Her father's face darkened. Daphne, this isn't just about money. It's about family. She met his gaze, her voice trembling but firm. No. It's about control. You want me to say yes because I always do. You want me quiet and agreeable because it keeps everything easy.